Since the first day the Empire arrived here, such incidents have become common, and the official force simply cannot manage so many affairs. In most cases, each individual's personal safety has become their own primary responsibility. Relatively safer places are limited to schools, hospitals, and wealthy neighborhoods where they can afford to hire security. With the Empire's arrival, the status of security guards greatly improved. The previous old guard were replaced by young, robust men, many of whom were veterans in combat. Naturally, every security was armed. Although Tian High Territory outwardly prohibits firearms, there's a thriving underground trade. They want to regulate it but lack the capacity, only managing to maintain the status quo. What a chaotic place! At this moment, a beautiful woman walked in. With the sight of the beauty, the originally groaning patients all suddenly forget about their pain. For a moment, the entire ward fall dead silent. The beauty looked around the ward and quickly walked towards Zhao Yu. Liu Xiyu. This was the woman the original Zhao Yu pursued. Zhao Yu recognized her based on the memory. Zhao Yu was momentarily amazed by her beauty. No wonder the original Zhao Yu fall for her. Before he could admire her further, Liu Xiyu frowned slightly, her eyes revealing a hint of disgust. Zhao Yu remained silent, realizing that winning her over within a year might be a challenging task. Zhao Yu, one didn't expect you to actually jump into the lake? She quickly regained her indifferent demeanor. You might have proven how much you like me, but one can't accept your feelings. Zhao Yu stayed silent, still trying to fit himself into the new identity. Liu Xiyu was a bit surprised that Zhao Yu did not seize the moment to express his feelings. What one need now is money. My grandparents are both over 60 now. You still remembers the imperial laws set by our lord. I don't want to send them to die just because of some stupid law. Do you know how much the exemption fee for the 2 old men is for a year? 10 million. This is money you won't be able to earn in your lifetime. Liu Xiyu was somewhat melancholic. If not for the Empire and the Lord's decree, perhaps she could have had her own love story like any other girl. Ever since the decree was announced, money has become the most important thing in this world. With my abilities, earning that much in a year is impossible. So, Liu Xiyu heaved a sigh of relief. Many girls had taken the easy path by approaching the wealthy, second-generation students. They had been very busy in the recent month for picking their favorite girlfriend. Although she was definitely the top pick among all the girls, she still had the thought of earning money on her own. Until now, she still struggled with the idea to make money to save her grandparents. To prevent Zhao Yu from distracting her, she decided to end things with him once and for all. So, I hope you could just leave me alone. I actually envy you, with no family, no worry about such matters. Your love has become a burden to me. Liu Xiyu shook her head. After saying that, she walked away. In the ward, many patients were fixated on Liu Xiyu, watching her like hungry wolves, only tearing their gazes away after she left. Zhao Yu was not feeling bad about her rejection. Instead, he seemed lost in thought. Before this, he had no idea on how to fulfill the original owner's wishes. With the intel she provided, he realized that with enough money to exempt Liu Xiyu's family, there might be a turning point. Brother, who was that woman just now? Do you have her contact? The patient in the next bed was now keen on getting Liu Xiyu's number. Zhao Yu ignored him and tried moving his body, with a few minutes to get familiar with his body. He got out of bed and left the ward as soon as possible. He realized just how severe the hospital's shortage of medical resources was, even he knew it from the original owner's memories. The corridor was filled with injured people, some lying in beds, others sitting on the floor. Medical staff were too busy to notice Zhao Yu. Scratching his head, Zhao Yu headed downstairs. Everywhere, even in the stairwell, were crowded by various injured people. Even Zhao Yu, who'd been through a battlefield, could not witness this chaos. By the time he reached the main entrance, he has noticed something strange. Is medical treatment free of charge? He searched the original owner's memories and realized that institutions like his university received many subsidies from the government, including medical subsidies. The school must have covered his medical expenses. When Zhao Yu stepped out of the main door, he was shocked by the scene once again. Dozens of heavily armed security formed a human wall. Beyond them was a large crowd of injured people crying out in pain and begging for help. All the medical staff in white coats were busy saving everyone they could. Pay first, or else no treatment. No money. No right. We are lacking of medical stuffs and equipment. Hearing these shouts and seeing bundles of money being counted in the background, Zhao Yu felt disoriented. Is this really a hospital? This looked like a bandits' camp. Fortunately, it was a one-way trip. It is difficult to get in, but free to go anytime. It didn't take much effort for Zhao Yu to leave the hospital. Based on his memory, there was a distance between this hospital and Bing City University. If he took the bus, it would be about 7 or 8 stops. Zhao Yu checked his pockets, and all his money eventually were gone. With the situation around him now, it was not surprised to find his money was stolen. Zhao Yu thought of trying his luck by sneaking in the crowd to board the bus. Therefore, he walked toward the nearest bus stop and began to wait. There were only 3 people waiting at the bus stop. Everyone looked very cautious. One of them kept a hand inside his jacket, holding his weapon. Zhao Yu's arrival made the atmosphere tense, and they warned him by throwing some glances. This startled Zhao Yu, and he quickly averted his eyes. He had just arrived in this world. He hoped not to die so soon. After a while, the bus finally arrived, and everyone started to board on. Zhao Yu intentionally boarded last. Upon entering, he discovered that apart from the driver, there was another staff member wearing a bulletproof vest and holding a submachine gun. Zhao Yu's plan failed miserable. What the hell are you doing? Pay and get to your seat. If not, get off now. The driver behind the bulletproof glass said impatiently. I'm a student at Bing City University. I lost my money. Can you give me a free ride? Zhao Yu begged the driver. Brat, are you looking for some bullet buffet? You want to have a taste of it? It is free. The security guard at the side replied Zhao Yu with his gun. Zhao Yu's mouth twitched a little, and he hurriedly waved his hand. No, please. I'm really a student. I lost my money. One would pay it once I have arrived back to university. Just. Zhao Yu saw the bijia written on the coin slot. 100 for one trip? Zhao Yu lost his word.
Yeah.
The sound of a submachine gun being fired and the surrounding area where Zhao Yu stood was penetrated by the bullets. Stop. Don't. I'll get out. Zhao Yu quickly leaped out the bus through the window like an action movie star to avoid being shot. Once he was on the ground, he raised his hands in the air to indicate that he had no weapons and the will to fight back.
Bang.
The door shut instantly and the bus sped away. With the bus departure away, Zhao Yu laid on the ground and felt his racing heart beat. Oh mama, my God, this world. According to his memory, the buses in this world were not that expensive. They were about $2 to $3. Since the decree was issued, all the price had been increasing every day. Now, it was 100. In terms of prices, Zhao Yu realized that the money in this world was not much different from that on the earth. The salary of an ordinary person was only 3,000 to 4,000 a month. What should one do now? It's such a long way. Do one have to walk all the way back? Wyack. A yellow SUV stopped nearby. Zhao Yu and its passenger window started rolling down. In the driver's seat, a man in a yellow jacket turned to look at Zhao Yu and said with a faint smile, Yo, what Isn't this our Bing City University's Romeo who jumped into the lake just to confess his love? Zhao Yu quickly searched his memory for the corresponding name to this man. Huang Zilong was a famous young heir of Bing City University. He was one of Lu Siyu's suitors and was regarded as a rival by the original owner. However, unlike the original host, Huang Zilong was a player. He was always surrounded by women. He pursued Lu Siyu only based on her appearance. Zhao Yu, are you waiting for the bus, huh? The buses aren't reliable. We're classmates, hop in, and I'll give you a lift. Huang Zilong was just trying to mess with Zhao Yu. Knowing Zhao Yu so well, he thought Zhao Yu would rather break his legs by walking all the way back to university instead of accepting his offer. Why did you invite him? Zhao Yu turned his head once he heard a familiar voice and glanced at the 2 girls sitting in the back seat of Huang Zilong's car. One of them was Lu Siyu. The other girl was Qiao Bingbing. Her name may be cold, but her figure was very opposite of it hot. Come on, we're all classmates. Huang Zilong pretended to be generous, and though all this while he never even viewed Zhao Yu as human, just a mere toy for him to spend his free time. Zhao Yu must be feeling so terrible in pain now. This is the perfect timing for Huang Zilong to humiliate him and challenge his pride. Thank you so much. Zhao Yu opened the car door and sat in the passenger seat without hesitate. Oh? None of them expected Zhao Yu would accepted the ride from his rival by throwing his pride away so easily. Who are you? Xiao Bingbing whispered. Everyone at Bing City University knew that Zhao Yu was a straightforward and stubborn person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become a loyal dog for over half a year, jumping into a lake just because of a word from his goddess. Nice. I like the current Yu more than the previous one. Huang Zilong laughed while Zhao Yu buckled up. He didn't mind it anymore and drove his car. In the back seat, Lu Siyu was disgusted by Zhao Yu's arrival and warned him. Zhao Yu, I thought one made myself clear in the hospital room. Why are you still acting like an annoying pest? Don't flatter yourself. It's Huang Zilong who invited me. What does it have to do with you? Are you the owner? You. Lucy, you never expect Zhao Yu to talk to her like that. No man talked to her in this behavior, especially the Zhao Yu she knew. Even Huang Zilong and Xiao Bingbing were shocked. Zhao Yu, did you really jump into a lake and change your personality like the story, The Honest Woodcutter? Xiao Bingbing asked curiously. Zhao Yu did not answer her. He was not the original owner of the body, so he would not give a SXXXD about Lu Siyu and them. To him, the original's Zhao Yu last wish was his primary priority. Everything else will have to move aside. Lu Siyu felt aggrieved. Even Huang Zilong would be polite to her, and the Zhao Yu she knew would never be so rude to her. Yet, she could not complain. After all, it was indeed Huang Zilong who had invited Zhao Yu into his car. Huang Zilong wondered if Zhao Yu had changed. He turned to look at the back seat and smiled. Two beauties. Can you do me the honor of visiting Heavenly Earth tonight? That place is very expensive, Xiao Bingbing said in surprise. See you. Let's go over and take a look. I really want to take a photo and post it on my moments. Lu Siyu immediately agreed. Okay. Huang Zilong's lips curved into a confident smile, anticipating the evening's events. He had expected Zhao Yu to loudly object to Lu Siyu, but Zhao Yu remained silent, which surprised Huang Zilong. Zhao Yu, what about Yout? My treat tonight? Heavenly Earth? Zhao Yu skimmed his memories and quickly found the associated information. It was a bar located near Bing City University in the wealthy district. For a college student, a single visit there was something to boast about for months. Huang Zilong's invitation was to set a trap for Zhao Yu to embarrass himself. While in Zhao Yu's mind such a place might offer some insights. All right, thanks for the invitation, Huang Zilong. Zhao Yu, is that place even suitable for you? Lu Siyu interrupted from the back seat, trying to dissuade him. Zhao Yu countered, if you can go, give me a reason why can't I go? She suddenly realized that she didn't seem to know Zhao Yu very well. Had he never revealed his true nature before in front of her? Huang Zilong felt that there would be some fun tonight. He took out his phone to make a call in front of them. Lulu, are you free tonight? It's definitely interesting. Today's game is very fun. All right. Dude, tonight at Heavenly Earth, if you don't come, you're doomed. Huang Zilong drove with one hand and called many people. Finally, as they were about to reach the university, Lu Siyu collected her thoughts, feeling a mix of unease. She spoke, Huang Zilong, since you have plans with your friends tonight, maybe we shouldn't go. That won't do. How could I enjoy without you both today? Huang Zilong refused. Lu Siyu's heart skipped a beat. She glanced at Zhao Yu, guessing that Huang Zilong wanted to use Zhao Yu for entertainment purpose. She was reluctant and was about to refuse, but Xiao Bingbing whispered to her, see you, let's go. Those invited by Huang Zilong are either rich or noble. If we can become friends with one of the young ladies, they might introduce us to more influential circles. Huang Zilong pressed on. You once said you owed me a favor for taking you to the hospital. Have you forgotten so soon? Lu Siyu looked at Zhao Yu again. She felt a bit annoyed, thinking her good intentions might as taken for granted. Since Zhao Yu did not spoke for himself, she did not care about him anymore. While Huang Zilong was making a call, Zhao Yu did not intentionally eavesdrop. His attention was constantly outside the window. Throughout the journey, there were frequent fights outside, like a repeating footage, almost non-stop. The others in the car seemed used to it and ignored everything. Moreover, Zhao Yu noticed many people trying to rob any passing vehicles, but strangely, their car was never stopped or interrupted. Zhao Yu finally has a full picture now. It turned out that Huang Zilong's car was very custom-made with modification. It was not only bulletproof, but even its tires were explosion-proof. Although Zhao Yu could not understand its structure and theory behind it, he knew this car worth $1 million, or even more. Those who could afford such cars typically came from influential backgrounds, often having private armed forces. They were not targets for common thieves or criminals groups. It truly was a chaotic world, yet the society still functioned like the old days. With power, you were the king. Without it, you were a dog. Zhao Yu could not help shaking his head. For safety, he decided he needed to establish his own private militia. Protecting himself was a priority. Before returning back to university, Zhao Yu had not been idle. With his base leveled up to level 3 on the moon, he had managed to directly feed knowledge into the brain like a code. So, Zhao Yu was searching and analyzing all the information and knowledge to plot out a mind map and plans to achieve the original Zhao Yu last wish. Of course, the majority of them was related to weapons. The contrast part might be it was not necessarily possible to create level 2 or level 3 weapons. But level 0 or 1 weapons would be easy. He just needed some initial funds and factories to manufacture the weapons. After all, this body Zhao Yu owed no technological base at his disposal where he could instantly produce weapons. To create any weapon, he would have to start from scratch by manual operation. The most pressing issue was securing the initial funds. While Zhao Yu was lost in thought, the car arrived at the gate. Dozens of fully armed security surrounded the car for inspection. Guns were prohibited inside the education area. Generally, students didn't have the liberty to leave. Huang Zilong's family was influential, rumored to be one of the school's stakeholders. This allowed him to take others out with him. For safety purpose, these security searched the vehicle, ensured there were no weapons, and verified that all 4 were students before letting them through. Xiao Bingbing couldn't help but sigh. This world has become so dangerous. It seems we need to find someone to back us up. Huang Zilong smiled and turned to look at Lu Siyu. Noted that she was deep in thought, he nodded. Soon, the car arrived at the female dormitory. The 2 girls alighted, and Huang Zilong turned to Zhao Yu, saying, I have something to deal with. Could you head back yourself? All right, thank you. It was clear that Huang Zilong didn't want to drop him at the dormitory, and Zhao Yu didn't want to overstay his welcome. Perhaps, Huang Zilong worried that Zhao Yu might not come in the evening and quickly reminded him, tonight at 9, 1 foot 11 inches pick you up from your building. Don't be late. All right. Zhao Yu responded and then walked towards his dormitory. Lu Siyu and Xiao Bingbing also bid their farewell to Huang Zilong. Just as they entered the dormitory building, Xiao Bingbing mentioned she left something in the car and went back to retrieve it. As she rushed back, sure enough, Huang Zilong's car was still there. She confidently entered the car. How much was that bag you wanted? Huang Zilong, looking out towards the girls' dormitory entrance, asked nonchalantly. 30,000, Xiao Bingbing replied with enthusiasm. Okay. Tonight, try a bit harder. I want to win over Lu Siyu. Huang Zilong effortlessly took out his phone and transferred the money. Of course, money talks, Xiao Bingbing with a smirk. All right, you should leave before my other girls see you, Huang Zilong said, urging her out. Xiao Bingbing wished Huang Zilong would fancy her, but he didn't. Oh my God. Zhao Yu, you are alive. Inside the dormitory, the other 3 were engrossed in a video game. When Zhao Yu was back, they exclaimed in surprise. We wanted to visit you at the hospital, but our supervisor didn't approve, so we couldn't leave. Yeah, Zhao Yu, are you all right? Zhao Yu waved his hand.
Infine.
I just choked on some water. I slept in the hospital. TSK, Zhao Yu, you might not know this, but you're famous. Everyone in the school knows your name now. That's right. Many people came to ask about you. Bing City University's Romeo and Juliet. Previously, Zhao Yu's reputation for being overly attentive to a single woman was only well known within his class and course. Outside of that, hardly anyone knew. However, after his recent stunt of jumping into the lake, It exploded in public opinion across Bing City University, attracting much attention. Of course, most of the comments were derisive. People mocked Zhao Yu for his perceived lack of backbone, thinking he jumped into the lake over a girl. Zhao Yu didn't explain much. He hugged his computer and lay on the bed, starting to do his code. After all, Zhao Yu was a bootlicker. He was one of the top students in the class. All their exams depended on him. 3 of them just continued on their game. After a while, Zhao Yu faced his first obstacle. He had intended to create an artificial intelligence. It didn't have to be as sophisticated as Uncle Da, just smarts enough to assist him. However, he realized that his current computer simply didn't have the capacity for it. He would need a much more powerful computer. Zhao Yu recalled that only the computer department at school had a server that might barely support the birth of an AL. Checking the time, he saw that there were several hours left until the appointment. Zhao Yu set out for the computer department. Zhao Yu, where are you going? The library? As visiting to the library was his usual activity, no one found it odd. Zhao Yu found out that, aside from the computer lab, 3 classrooms were also connected to that mainframe. 2 of the classrooms were locked while 1 class was in use. He headed to the classroom. It was a large lecture room. Unlike the situation in the BAS, he could easily blend it in now. He chose a seat in the last row at the corner and began coding with the server. Occasionally, he noticed people coming his way and quickly changed the screen. He saw a cute girl with twin ponytails was approaching him. "This is my spot," she said, pointing to his table. "These lectures are free seating." Zhao Yu replied. "Besides, is your name written on the table?"
Yes.
The cute girl pointed at the engraved words on the table and said, "Hua Xiao Shi. Did you see that?" Zhao Yu lowered his head to take a look. It was obvious that it had been carved on it previously. He looked around and realized that most of the seats were filled. There were no more seats in the corner like this. "I was here first. First comes, first serves. Besides, do you think you're the principal? Order me whatever you want." Hua Xiao, she was clearly frustrated but, seemingly out of options, took a seat nearby. With her gone, Zhao Yu resumed his work. After a while, he felt someone staring at him. Turning, he found Hua Xiao Shi, leaning over slightly, watching him intently. "This girl, what's wrong with her? Do she has any problem with me?" Zhao Yu was speechless, but he could not be bothered to deal with her, so he continued coding. Ding, ding, ding. Zhao Yu was so engrossed in his coding that he only snapped back to reality when the class bell rang. He felt a menacing stare, as if being watched by an old ghost at the same time. Turning his head around, he saw that it was indeed Hua Xiao. She was still staring him. She hadn't left yet. When she noticed Zhao Yu looking at her, she tried to pull off an intimidating face. However, her cheeks were a bit chubby, which made her attempted glare look not menacing at all but rather cute. Oh? What did she want? Was she watching me all this time? Was she trying to act cute in front of him? I have no idea. It was already the appointed time. Zhao Yu quickly packed his things and walked towards the teaching building with terror in his heart. Hua Xiao, she had hoped that Zhao Yu might came over to say something to her. However, Zhao Yu just walked away without uttering a single word, leaving her both annoyed and disappointed. Humph. Hua Xiao, she muttered, "This isn't over. Did Zhao Yu decide not to come? Zhao Yu won't be coming, right? He probably don't dare to come." Outside the teaching building, Lu Siyu and Xiao Bingbing waited for a while, but Zhao Yu was nowhere to be seen. "If he doesn't come, it's better. Saves me the trouble," Lu Siyu said with a smile. However, deep down, she felt a sense of loss, as if something that was supposed to be hers suddenly vanished. Xiao Bingbing was also a bit disappointed. The show for this evening was gone. She knew that the vice president of the student union had been invited tonight.
Boom boom.
From a distance, the sound of a car's horn was heard. Huang Zilong's vehicle pulled up among the crowd, drawing glances from onlookers. Many knew this was Huang Zilong's car. They just took a fleeting glance and moved on. However, a few girls giggled among themselves, mustering up the courage to approach the car and knock on its window. "Hey, can I get your contact?" one of them asked. Huang Zilong observed the girls up and down, then responded dismissively, "Sorry, I have a girlfriend." With that, he honked the horn again. Lu Siyu and Xiao Bingbing walked over. The girls, who were initially a bit miffed at being rejected, felt ashamed upon seeing the approaching pair. Without another word, they quickly left. "Where's Zhao Yu?" Huang Zilong poked his head out and asked as the two approached. "I'm not sure. He didn't come to class tonight," Xiao Bingbing said cheerfully. Huang Zilong's face showed a hint of disappointment. He had hoped for some special entertainment tonight. "Ladies, get in the car. Haven't you seen how the other guys are staring? They're almost ready to stab me." Lu Siyu looked around and indeed noticed several gazes directed their way. She quickly climbed into the back seat. Huang Zilong had a notorious reputation in school. He was a known playboy with countless current or ex-girlfriends. Lu Siyu felt anxious. By getting into his car, she feared rumors might spread, potentially tarnishing her reputation. She looked at Xiao Bingbing and felt relieved. She had gotten into the car with her sister, not alone. Moreover, she was sitting in the back seat.
Sit tight.
Huang Zilong was about to leave when the door of the passenger seat was suddenly open. Zhao Yu got in skillfully. "Zhao Yu? You're here." Huang Zilong chuckled and didn't ask why he was late. He stepped on the accelerator. "Zhao Yu, what are you doing with the laptop?" Xiao Bingbing asked curiously. "I was studying in the library and forgot the time. I just remembered my agreement with you guys and rushed over." Zhao Yu smiled and said that he was in a good mood. His efforts in the afternoon were not in vain. The progress of the artificial intelligence was nearly done. As long as he attended classes with server provided, he would be able to create an owl to support him. At that time, with the help of the owl, his mission would become much easier. Initially, Lu Siyu had been chatting and laughing with them before Zhao Yu got on the car. After he got on the car, she kept quiet and leaned back in her seat. She tilted her head and looked out of the window as if someone owed her a lot of money. Huang Zilong glanced at the rearview mirror and smiled. His hobby was to sleep other people's lover or partner, especially Zhao Yu's goddess. Lu Siyu's attitude suited his appetite very well. Only such a woman was worth pursuing. Beep, beep, beep. Throughout their drive in the campus, Huang Zilong's constant honking was a clear display of his entitled, rich second-generation attitude. Many students on the road had to dodge quickly, some hot-tempered guys ready to shout a retort. Yet, upon recognizing Huang Zilong, they held their tongues. Since the reign of the Milky Way Empire, the rules of wealth and power had become prominent. The bond between money and authority reached unprecedented levels. In the past, many would dare to confront someone like Huang Zilong. Now, anyone who dared to be disrespectful had to question their own fate. Within a month, everyone had adapted to the new set of rules to survive. Soon, the group arrived at the entrance of the Heavenly Earth bar. Before getting out of the car, two familiar figures approached them. It was the vice president of the student council, Chao Bing, and the disciplinary officer of the student council, Li Xiaoming. They were the ones who supervised the discipline and attendance in dormitories. Among the students, they held some authority. At this moment, they seemed eager to please Huang Zilong once the car stopped with fawning smiles. This was Huang Zilong's goal, to display his status by inviting these two here. Soon, the four people in the car got out one by one. Lu Siyu and Xiao Bingbing greeted them briefly. But when they saw Zhao Yu, there was an unnatural look on their faces. They merely recognized him as a course mate from the same course as they knew him for his affection toward Lu Siyu and the incident of jumping into the lake. At the same time, the awkwardness arose because they did not expect to be witnessed by someone from the school, and even more, by an infamous male student. Chao Bing pretended not to recognize him and fawningly said to Huang Zilong, "Brother Long, is this your friend?" "Which one? Don't you know our Bing City University's Romeo?" Huang Zilong laughed. "Oh, it's Zhao Yu." Chao Bing seemed to understand the situation now. He had seen Zhao Yu's information. In his perspective of Yu, Zhao Yu was a troublemaker towards him. The school leaders had asked the student council to talk to Zhao Yu privately, advising him against making rash decisions that would reflect badly on the institution. In today's society, deaths were common, but it was different for a school, especially one located near a wealthy neighborhood. They had to maintain their reputation. Chao Bing knew that Zhao Yu was an orphan who managed to attend Bing City University only due to past welfare provisions. After the incident of jumping into a lake for a woman, he despised him even more. He greeted Zhao Yu with some disdain. Li Xiaoming did not know much about Zhao Yu's background and even went up to greet him politely. Brother, it's rare to see such a loyal person like you. It's too rare. Sister-in-law, you're here too. It looks like you'll really be able to make your dream come true if you jump into Lover Lake. Upon hearing this, Lu Siyu's face turned cold. Shut your damn mouth. Huang Zilong frowned and rebuked. Li Xiaoming realized that Lu Siyu wasn't Zhao Yu's girlfriend, and Zhao Yu's relationship with Huang Zilong wasn't as good as he thought. He had screwed up.
I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Li Xiaoming slapped himself hard twice. Li Xiaoming's behavior displayed that even the arrogant student council officer was so servile in front of Huang Zilong. Zhao Yu remained silent. He understood what Huang Zilong was thinking. He had specially asked these two people to come over. It was probably to show off his status and power, so Lu Siyu will fall in love with him. After all, women naturally admire strength. Huang Zilong's move was to use the authority that Chao Bing and Li Xiaoming had accumulated in school and to enhance his own image. This kid are not all useless after all, Zhao Yu thought to himself. Indeed, Lu Siyu's was amazed by Wang Zilong. Quick, apologize to Sister Siyu. He quickly stepped forward and slapped Li Xiaoming a couple more times. Li Xiaoming approached with a sheepish smile, slapping himself while apologizing. Lu Siyu quickly gestured to indicate that it was all right. Li Xiaoming, you're a student council officer, and I give you some respect for that. But outside, you're nothing but a dog to me. Do you understand? Huang Zilong nodded in satisfaction and said, Yes, 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 Li Xiaoming responded. Half of his face was swollen, but he still wore a forced smile. Chao Bing felt empathetic and shared the sentiments. But as Huang Zilong glanced over, he immediately hid his emotions and put on a smile and bow. Many who saw the scene shook their heads, as if such incidents had become commonplace. Ladies, shall we go inside? Huang Zilong said cheerfully. Ah? Oh. Lu Siyu and Chao Bingbing responded without even daring to look at Huang Zilong, fearing his wrath. The group resumed their cheerful conversation and headed for the bar, as if the previous incident never occurred. Meanwhile, Chao Bingbing whispered to Lu Siyu, That's the reality of society. No matter how prestigious Chao Bing and Li Xiaoming are in school, outside they're just as Huang Zilong's dogs. Lu Siyu, struggling to come to terms with this. But we're all classmates. Yes, we are classmates, Chao Bingbing replied. But in reality, it's all about money and power, Chao Bingbing added. Lu Siyu was confused and didn't know how to respond. Huang Zilong, already familiar with the drill, didn't mind the two girls whispering behind him. As they approached the entrance, several fully armed security guards blocked their path. Huang Zilong pulled out a card and pointed to his companions, They're with me. After the security checked the card and patted everyone down to ensure no firearms, they allowed the group to enter. There was a long hallway inside, with more security checks before they finally reached the bar. This place might seem strict, but it's absolutely safe. Dozens of armed guards are on duty. Feels unbreakable, right? Huang Zilong boasted. Indeed. With the way society is now, even a trip to the restroom could result in robbery. Only you could give us an experience like this, Chao Bing responded. The group quickly made their way past the dance floor, heading upstairs to a spacious private room. In the private room, it was high-class studio room. There were already 7 or 8 people sitting in the private room. They were all gathered together. Upon entering, Zhao Yu quickly scanned the room. Half of them were men and the other half women. He didn't pay much attention to the women, focusing instead on the 4 men. After all, he was currently in need of startup funds. If he could get some money from these wealthy kids. On the other hand, Lu Siyu and Chao Bingbing's attention was entirely on the other 4 women. Originally, Lu Siyu was quite confident about her looks and outfit. However, after seeing the 4 women in the room, she couldn't help but feel a bit ashamed. These women exceptionally beautiful, but their clothes also expensive. Compared to her chosen dress, Lu Siyu felt she looked like a country bumpkin. They're just hostesses, while I'm a serious college student.
Liu Xiu comforted herself silently.
Although it was her first time in such a place, she did not want to feel overwhelmed. Chao Bingbing, want get to know these second-generation individuals, much like Huang Zilong and his group. The designer brands they wore were not something ordinary people like her could afford. Huang Zilong, you damn well show up late? A young woman, dressed provocatively and looking like a rebellious teenager around 15 or 16, shouted profanely. Huang Zilong was shocked to see her. How did this witch end up here? He glanced around and saw another wealthy young woman looking at him with a bitter expression, indicating that they had not intended to bring this outspoken girl. Huang Zilong felt helpless. With this woman's presence, it might be difficult to impress Lu Siyu today. Huang Zilong quickly put on a professional, ingratiating smile. I'll penalize myself with 3 drinks. 3 drinks. He was about to pick up the wine glass from the table. However, the rebellious young girl sneered. 3 drinks. Are you looking down on me? Once she spoke, the rest of the people in the private room didn't even dare to breathe, silently watching her make a scene. Pulling out 3 bottles of different types, the young girl maliciously grinned. Drink these 3 bottles, and I will forgive you. Huang Zilong was instantly dumbfounded. The 3 bottles on the table were known as fairy drunk. Mixing and drinking all 3 would not just hinder one's ability to work, but may hang over for a couple days. Although the ones who came with Huang Zilong didn't know who this girl was, seeing her brazenly berate Huang, and watching Huang not daring to retort, it was clear she was a powerful figure. Li Xiaoming, wanting to seize the moment, enthusiastically stepped forward and said, Brother Long drove here, so how about I drink on his behalf? Before he could finish, the young girl looked displeased. Who the hell are you? She directly took one of the bottles and hurled it at Li Xiaoming. Li Xiaoming instinctively dodged, causing the bottle to miss and shatter on the floor. The room was filled with silence. Huang Zilong reacted quickly and slapped Li Xiaoming twice. You blind fool! How dare you dodge Big Sister's bottle? As he slapped, he scolded. Big Sister? Zhao Yu was looking carefully at the rebellious young girl, confirming she was just a 15 or 16-year-old girl. Huang Zilong surely wouldn't call her that on his own initiative. It was clearly the young girl's idea. Despite her young age, she liked being called Big Sister, which seemed rather childish. By judging by the reactions of everyone present, this rebellious girl must have a significant background, which allowed her to be so unrestrained. The young girl clearly lost interest and shifted focus, saying, Huang Zilong, don't try to divert attention. You still have 3 bottles to drink. I haven't. Huang Zilong stopped and said helplessly, one didn't want to escape. I'm just helping you teach him a lesson. After saying that, he sat down on the couch, picked up a bottle of wine, and poured it into one of the empty glasses. He took a small sip and his expression twisted. He found it hard to swallow. Ha ha! The rebellious young girl burst into laughter. Soon, she realized that the others weren't reacting, and she voiced her dissatisfaction, saying, What are you all staring at? Laugh. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Instantly, the room was filled with forced laughter. Even Chao Bing and Li Xiaoming joined in the laughter. Chao Bingbing and Lu Siyu, standing by the door, felt somewhat fearful, uncertain whether they should laugh. Siyu, I'm scared, Chao Bingbing, trembling slightly, whispered into Lu Siyu's ear. If the room were filled only with men, she might not have been so afraid. But now, it seemed that the most powerful person in the room was a woman. Woman against woman could be particularly ruthless, especially her good looks, making it even easier for someone to become envious and bear a grudge against her. Lu Siyu having just witnessed Chao Bing and Li Xiaoming's submissive behavior in front of Huang Zilong. It gave her a new understanding of the harsh realities of society. The next moment, even Huang Zilong had to bow his head in submission. For someone like her, who might be beautiful but comes from an ordinary background, what would be her fate? Maybe we should leave? Lu Siyu also lowered her head, whispering to Chao Bingbing. She noticed that Zhao Yu next to her was not laughing. Instead, he seemed quite interested in watching the spectacle. This guy. Lu Siyu had not expected that in such an environment, Zhao Yu would not join in the laughter. Wasn't he afraid? With everyone laughing, those who were not stood out easily. The rebellious young girl quickly spotted Zhao Yu at the door and asked, Why aren't you laughing? Huang Zilong, who was in the middle of drinking, silently sighed in relief. Fortunately, the focus had shifted to the clueless Zhao Yu. He slightly opened his mouth, letting a part of the unswallowed wine discreetly flow out. Everyone immediately turned to the scene. Lu Siyu and Xiao Bingbing clenched their toes nervously, fearing that the rebellious young girl might target them. Zhao Yu remained calm, replying indifferently, "Why should one laugh when it's not funny at all?" "Not funny?" The rebellious young girl paused, seemingly surprised by Zhao Yu's answer. She slightly furrowed her brows, propping up her arm and resting her cheek on her hand, lost in thought. Those familiar with her in the room adopted a look of anticipation, as if expecting some drama. She asked Huang Zilong, who was secretly chuckling, and pointed at him, "You, this bottle in one go." "Wah, how did it circle back to him again? You gonna drink it or not?" The young girl grew impatient when he didn't respond. "Drink, drink, drink." Huang Zilong dared not say another word. He took a deep breath, stood up, and held the bottle. Placing the bottle's neck to his lips, he gently shook it a couple of times. Then, the wine inside started swirling down his throat. In a moment, tears formed in Huang Zilong's eyes from the sting of the alcohol. However, he didn't dare let go. After forcefully finishing the entire bottle, he bent over, gasping for breath like a panting dog with his tongue hang. Our. His appearance was truly ridiculous, and it caused everyone to laugh out loud. The delinquent girl also laughed until she noticed Zhao Yu still remained like an emotionless rock. "Why aren't you smiling or laughing?" she said with some dissatisfaction. Zhao Yu was not in a hurry to answer. How possible was Huang Zilong had called Lu Siyu and him here just to put on a show to make a fool of himself? Zhao Yu was well aware of this. However, he still came because he was short of money. The possibility of getting lump sum of money in a short period of time through proper work is not enough. Therefore, Zhao Yu had placed his hope in this party. He originally had a plan to counter Huang Zilong's plan. With this delinquent girl in front of him made Zhao Yu realize that it seemed that he could get money in much easier way than his original plan. This kind of delinquent girl was like a Gatling gun at her age. She might be a good support power, but she was also prone to backlash. "It was funny, but I don't dare to laugh." Zhao Yu finally established his plan now. The impatience on her face disappeared and was replaced by curiosity. She quickly asked the reason. "I'm afraid that if I laugh at Huang Zilong here, he'll kill me afterwards," Zhao Yu said with a panicked voice. "How could he?" The delinquent girl was furious. She turned to look at Huang Zilong. "Do you dare?" Huang Zilong waved his hand and said, "One don't dare." She turned to look at Zhao Yu and said, "He wouldn't. Now laugh. It's because of you. Once you leaves, he will definitely kill me. Maybe you'll see a news tomorrow about the love saint who studied in Bing City University jumped into the lake once again for love. Unfortunately, the goddess of luck didn't favor him this time." Zhao Yu shook his head and said, "Huh." The delinquent girl said in surprise, "Are you the Romeo of Bing City University? Damn, rumor really spread like a virus." "That's me." Zhao Yu nodded helplessly. Everyone in the private room lit up as well. They sized up Zhao Yu as if they were looking at an alien. The delinquent girl seemed to have seen a treasure. She stood up and walked closer to Zhao Yu to observe him. Zhao Yu heaved a sigh of relief. Everything seemed to be on the right track. When he was on Earth, he had watched a lot of movies and TV shows. He had a certain understanding of the psychology of these rich second-generation heirs. For young rich second-generation heirs, the lack of love was very common among them. They were those who desperately desired love, but were easily hurt, and then walked the path of the master in time management. Zhao Yu didn't believe it at first until he found out that the son of the richest man on the earth had been through such living experience. Zhao Yu's goal was not to make the delinquent girl fall in love with him. He just wanted her to be curious about him. Nothing special. Very ordinary person. The delinquent girl circled around Zhao Yu and curled her lips. "As a man, you committed suicide for a woman. Aren't you ashamed of that? I'm willing to pick the stars and moon for the person I love. I'm willing to climb mountains of knives and dive into seas of fire for her. Jumping into a lake? Small case." Zhao Yu laughed scornfully and said with confidence. He knew very well that children at this age were still yearned for such earth-shattering love. Therefore, the more exaggerated it was, the better the effect. After the delinquent girl heard it, her eyes widened, and she looked at Zhao Yu in shock. It was as if she was imagining a Prince Charming doing it just for her. Zhao Yu naturally did not think so. After all, he was not the original owner. He said this so that the plan could proceed smoothly. However, everyone believed his pretentious words. In reality, he had really jumped into the lake. Luckily, he was saved, or else he would have died in the lake. Without such belief held in his mind, one would not have jumped into the lake, risking their precious life. Just to confess his love, is this a movie or joke? The other 4 girls in the private room keep staring at Zhao Yu. As a girl, who would not yearn for someone who was willing to go through a mountain of blades and a sea of flames for her? Zhao Yu's words shocked even the others, let alone Lu Siyu. In her mind, there was also a man riding a white horse who was going through all kinds of difficulties for her like a prince from the storybook. When the ritual was over and Prince Charming finally came to save her, the blurry figure gradually became clear. It was Zhao Yu. Lu Siyu immediately shook her head. Yet, she looked at Zhao Yu with a complicated expression. Xiao Bingbing was obviously daydreaming as well. She had forgotten about her deal with Huang Zilong. I really envy you. Someone is willing to jump into the lake for you. She glanced at Lu Siyu and said enviously. However, she quickly came to her senses and realized that she had said the wrong thing. Just as Bingbing wanted to explain, Lu Siyu answered Bingbing, can love sustain my dream? I have 2 elders in my family. The annual exemption fee is 10 million. Lu Siyu's eyes gradually calmed down. He can't give me what I want. We're destined to be incompatible, she said. When Xiao Bingbing heard this, she thought about the reality as well. Still, if someone like Zhao Yu fell in love with her, she felt her whole body heat up. She do love money and power, but unlike Lu Siyu, who need a lot, Xiao Bingbing only needed money because her parents had died early. She was raised by her grandmother, who had passed away when she was in high school. She was all alone now and wanted to live a luxury life as she had nothing to worry about. She was just a little vain and wanted to use branded goods to enjoy to the fullest. Xiao Bingbing was tempted. If Zhao Yu was willing to be with her wholeheartedly, then she would. Compared to Lu Siyu, the delinquent girl was clearly believed in Zhao Yu's speech. At this moment, her face was flushed red, and her reaction was more intense than all the women present. She felt that his entire body was dazzling, as if it was shining brightly. Why you? Aha dash. The delinquent girl realized that her voice has changed. She quickly adjusted her voice and began once again. Then, what do you think I should do? Have you ever heard such a saying on the internet? Zhao Yu continued. If you owe the bank 100,000, then the bank will chase after your tail non-stop to collect the money. However, if you owe the bank 1 billion, the bank will serve you and feed you well every day, afraid that you might die. What do you mean by that? The delinquent girl was somewhat puzzled. If I become Huang Zilong's debt collector, he won't dare to kill me, Zhao Yu said lightly. Everyone was shocked. Huang Zilong's eyes flashed coldly as he looked at Zhao Yu with killing intent. The others didn't expect him to be so bold as to rob Huang Zilong under the influence of Big Sister. Didn't he think that after he walked out, he would really experience the incident of jumping into the lake again? If Huang Zilong's family knew about this, they would also want to throw him into the lake. The delinquent girl revealed 2 small canine teeth. She smiled and said, "This is a good idea. How much do you want?" she asked. "Do you think 10 million is appropriate?" Zhao Yu's initial plan was to have a maximum capital of 1 million. With this opportunity, he wanted to go all in. Lu Siyu, who was behind him, looked at Zhao Yu in shock. She had just told Zhao Yu today that the exemption fee for the 2 elders in her family was 10 million. Could it be that he? Xiao Bingbing looked at Zhao Yu and then at Lu Siyu with envy. At the same time, she decided that since Lu Siyu didn't cherish Zhao Yu, she would just snatch him away. It would be a pity for Lu Siyu to have such a loyal man. Only 10 million? The delinquent girl was expecting more than that, so she immediately lost interest and turned to Huang Zilong. Do you have any objections? Huang Zilong looked troubled. 10 million, too much? Your family's mine cave is worth at least a few 100 million, right? The delinquent girl's gaze was unfriendly. Huang Zilong didn't know how to answer. 10 million was indeed not a small amount for him. For his family, It was a small amount, but it was impossible to ask for it from his family without a proper reason. Xiaolong, you have to listen to Big Sister's words. I believe that uncle will definitely be very willing to help you out when he finds out about this. A friend of Huang Zilong laughed and suggested. Huang Zilong immediately came to a realization. No matter what promise he made, his father would be responsible for the rest of the matter. One agree, but I can't take it out now. I have to raise money at home. The delinquent girl nodded in satisfaction and looked at Zhao Yu. Now, can you laugh now? There's no evidence or proof. If he goes back on his word, I can't do anything about it. Zhao Yu shook his head. One, Su Xiao, am the middleman. Would he dare? The delinquent girl had a proud look as her words carried the weight of determination. Of course, you're the biggest here, but once we all went back, Huang Zilong's family were to negotiate with your family to settle it between adults, they'd probably treat it as a childish joke. Huang Zilong's initial strong objection was eventually followed by his agreement. Zhao Yu had seen it and continued to ensure the adults could not interrupt their deal. Huang family worthy of greeting me or my family, Su Xiao said with a contemptuous smile. Huang Zilong clenched his fists tightly. A trace of hatred flashed in his eyes. With Huang Zilong's reaction of not dare to confront her, even she looked down upon his family. Initially, Zhao Yu thought that Su Xiao's family background might be equally or slightly powerful than Huang Zilong's family. With no one refuted, Su Xiao smiled and turned to Zhao Yu. Now, are you satisfied? Instantly, Zhao Yu figured out that his plan might not work anymore. He was planning to let two of their family to restricted each other due to their status. With Su Xiao's background, Huang Zilong's family might not dare to do anything when things involved her family. At the same time, the Su family would definitely do something for their daughter. For a wealthy family like this, it was fine to let their children mess around. If they found out that they are fighting among themselves betting on their family name, the family usually had to intervene. The ideal situation was both equally or slightly disadvantaged families supported their children. Zhao Yu knew it was humans' desire for victory upon their rival. But now, he had to make sure a situation where neither the Huang family nor the Su family would interfere since the family power was imbalanced. Once they dig in the game and found out was Zhao Yu's plot behind the scene manipulating their children, Su Xiao and Huang Zilong would not be able to pull this off. No one could save him. Should he get a guarantee from Su Xiao that her family would not get involved? Zhao Yu dismissed this idea as he already reached this point. He was doomed. Zhao Yu's brain was spinning. Just as Su Xiao was getting impatient, he finally spoke. This is a little boring. Su Xiao frowned and looked at Zhao Yu with annoyance. The halo that was originally spreading around him gradually faded. Are you playing with me?
No.
This kind of child couldn't care less when she threw a tantrum. Zhao Yu planned to change the game rule. I just think that small fight are boring. It's like children playing house. Why don't we play a bigger game? Child play? Play a little bigger? Su Xiao really showed an interested look and quickly asked how to play. Huang Zilong's eyes flashed coldly once more. He made up his mind that once he left this place, he would definitely kill Zhao Yu. I would like to invite Miss Su to be our witness. For what? She had already forgotten her original intention. A bet between me and Huang Zilong and his family. Gambling? What kind of bet? The other people in the private room were also interested. They all pricked up their ears to see Zhao Yu's new game. Zhao Yu faced Huang Zilong and said seriously, "You and I are love rivals. This is something that the entire Bing City University knows. Today, let's settle it between us. Once and for all. You? My rival? You don't even have the right to become my pensioner," Huang Zilong declared. Zhao Yu ignoring Huang Zilong and continued, "The contents of the bet are very simple. You lend me 10 million, and if I can return you 20 million in a month, it will be my win. From that day onwards, you are not allowed to have anything to do with Lu Siyu." A bet for love. Su Xiao became restless again. She shouted, "I approve." Lu Siyu, who was standing at the side, was even more flustered. She could no longer distinguish between north, south, east, and west. There was only one sentence in her mind. If I win, Huang Zilong. Leave Lu Siyu alone, kept echoing in her mind. These words made her feel like she was in a dream, watching a melodramatic romance drama. Huang Zilong thought for a moment and decided not to dwell on the matter of his love rival. Instead, he calmed down and asked Zhao Yu, "Since it's a bet, it should be fair. What about the 10 million I lent you?" "That's right. Huang Zilong paid 10 million, but what about you? This bet is obviously not equal, right?" The other rich second-generation heirs in the private room were naturally closer to Huang Zilong and echoed his words. "With my life," Zhao Yu announced.